I was the only one who actually went to the little like river thing next to our site. Literally, it was right there. Literally, no one else.
Like down into the like riverbank and stuff.
Yeah, it was
I would have been down. I didn't know people were going down. I didn't know we were allowed to go down there.
Oh, I guess we went on Friday maybe while you guys were still lost.
Yeah, right.
But I mentioned it, but then like I don't know. Everyone else was
I like
oh,
hanging out in like little creek beds.
It was like and then there was like an actual little falls area too.
Nice.
It was kind of nice.
I think I was tired or something. So
yeah,
I was recovering from driving.
And then there was I think there was like a 8th division Slovenian match or something that somebody wanted to watch.
Every time I'm forced to take a road trip, I have a little trauma each time.
Trauma?
Yeah, just from the dealing with 5-lane highways.
Oh, okay.
Just you just don't like road trips in general. You don't like driving.
I feel like I-95 is just very dangerous.
Even though this was
I-95 is pretty simple. I feel like compared to like
I don't know.
Well, I-95 up here. Like,
the lanes get narrow.
when I think I-95, I think down south.
I feel like
Not too bad.
Whenever
I feel like the Connecticut parts are the worst.
I was gonna say
It's just like
Connecticut.
it's painful traffic.
Yeah, it's always.
But
like
if it's like
clogged
going
up.
fast, it's really narrow.
Right, and I
Yeah.
think it's also just like filled with a shit ton of people who have done this drive every day of their life for 40 years and are like half asleep and doing it at like 85 miles an hour. And I'm like, you people are a mess. You need to cut it out. Stop it.
I wish people would realize that the more merging that happens, the more traffic is caused. But
Dude, just one more spot. Just one more. We just need one more.
It's Alex!
It is episode 239 of View from 202, and it's a rough one, rough week out there. Kind of a fucked up time in world events, and just want to let you know that we're also feeling it out here. I just really haven't been able to focus at work, in my personal life, in everything in between. Just want everyone in Toff Nation out there to know you're not alone. And even though it's real dark right now and it seems like there's no hope and the very promise of domestic bliss and matrimony just feels like a lie, we're gonna get through this. I don't know how yet, but in the immortal words that we all know, let's go.
let's go.
Who do I blame? is my main question. Who do I get revenge on?
That's true.
This?
On the drive down to karting, I did say that we should celebrate what has been, not mourn what is lost.
Yeah, I know who we can blame, which is the guy. There was one tweet in particular that did a lot of numbers where he quote tweeted the announcement, said like, "Who the fuck is Jim?" Like, listen, asshole. It's not my job to educate you. Okay, it's not cool to be ignorant.
I feel like that's a sign we have so much like kind of Pollyanna mindset around MLS and soccer lately. I think
Google.
that's a nice little humbling moment that MLS and its ownership groups have not made it in pop culture.
No, yeah. That's a real humbling moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, for all of us. I mean, Toth Nation, has been kind of, rocked by all this.
We're all watching with great aplomb who ends up with custody of Nashville here.
Yeah.
You mean Tennessee?
A wonderful discovery was that Toth and Reese's child is named Tennessee Toth. Which, thoughts with them, but...
Yeah, future U.S. U-17 national team captain, Tennessee Toth.
See, I don't know if they're like 34. I mean, I guess they can't be that old, but yeah. Tennessee Toth.
Tenor Toth does sound like...
Tenor, yeah.
Yeah.
It's extremely... I'm sure it's like the most like mundane name in suburban Nashville.
Tenure Toth sounds like he's competing for the cut this weekend.
It's a beautiful,
right.
It's a great non-binary name too. Like it's really going up the charts for progressive couples who want to give their kids a nice neutral name.
Right there with Seven Costanza.
Yeah, so I hope that we have like a Taps infused or like very somber beat this week, because I don't want there to be something too celebratory. Don't want to dance on the grave.
Candle in the Wind drill beat.
Yeah.
I'm putting that down. You should send that to the group chat later.
How would that even work? I'm really interested now.
It's this is a new challenge I'll have to take this week.
Right. But yeah, our hearts are with you. And all hands on deck. Everyone send their energy and their support to Doug. We can't afford to lose another one.
No.
Not even critical, uncritical, unconditional support to Doug.
Yeah. Just
He needs it. We need it.
Full fealty.
Yeah.
That's the second man you're talking about.
He's going to be the first man by the time all's said and done. you just watch.
Yeah, watch out, Joe, all right?
And then Jim's going to be right behind him, breaking that glass ceiling.
The Red Bulls played this weekend, or did they? Did they? Sam, you were there. Did you see them with your own eyes? Were they there?
There was no game.
Oh, okay. For a second, I was like,
canceled.
oh shit. I had to think about that.
Yeah, rest assured.
How are the concessions?
How were the concessions? Pretty bad.
Okay, that's reassuring.
I mean, it wasn't his version try though. Were they better than last year? Like,
Okay, so
and
I feel like it was like misleading. There were a lot of amenities at the front where you walk in, and then when you walk to the other side of the stadium, it's just like the same two types of stands over and over and over. One being like empanadas, like in like Mexican like fare, and the other one just being popcorn and like nachos. And they just did that like every other stand.
Tim Apple, if you're listening to this, we really need to set standards at concessions at these stadiums.
I know, if anything.
This deal.
honestly, it looks shitty on TV. That stadium still. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the experience in person is. I imagine the experience in person is a little worse because like when you pan out, it's not all the way full, right?
It's just like, I don't know.
It's just the lower
Everything
deck.
about it was incredibly forgettable.
Yeah.
I just kind of, and I forgot about that from last time.
Nice.
It was, every, like, pregame hype, they have that same like corny For the Crown, like hype video that doesn't make any sense, but like is supposed to drum up some emotion. And then they do the thing with the national anthem where they like, nobody sings it. They all sing it.
Oh.
Cause like,
That must be in some slide deck somewhere for like axe throwing cities who get soccer teams.
yeah, right. Part of the formula.
Yeah.
And the airport still, like when they like talk about all the teams, they still talk about like, they don't refer to Charlotte FC as a team. It's like the mayor on like talking about like all the great things. And they like mention like the Carolina Panthers and the Bobcats. And then they like mention
The Bobcats, they're not even the Hornets.
or the Hornets. They mentioned the Hornets.
It'd be great if it were still the Bobcats.
Yeah, right. But then they mentioned like, and our new MLS team like is like part of it. So they clearly just haven't changed it in 2 years.
It would have been funny if they had it baked in as Charlotte Town before they
right.
went with the other name, which I thought Charlotte Town would have been a sick name.
Was that
I
a real
agree.
contender?
That was one of the finalists.
See, yeah, I mean,
which like that kind of works. Was like if there's any city in the country, if there's any major city in the U.S. that's actually just a town, it's Charlotte. Like
Boston too.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Boston town.
New England town.
Yeah.
Foxborough town. Foxborough borough. Yeah. Foxborough hamlet. But yeah, no, I mean, just, generally Charlotte. I mean, they really rub it in as far as being a like generic new Southern MLS team.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Pretty like cookie cutter in that sense.
I was thinking about maybe taking the next away trips to Charlotte as an excuse to stay at Pinehurst and play some golf or something.
Don't.
You've said this a few
No.
times, and I don't.
Well, just don't go for a Red Bulls game. Like, you can like make a trip to Charlotte if you want. Just like don't plan
Don't
it
watch
around.
us. I mean, it's just
go to
inadvisable.
Bojangles and go to Pinehurst.
It's inadvisable for any reasonable person to enjoy a Red Bulls game at this point.
Yeah, I actually would have rather seen Brit's home in Rock Hill.
Fuck.
And I as soon as I walked in, immediate regret of not doing that
Yeah.
instead of watching the
I
game.
gotta get some eyes on that. Figure out how it's doing.
Yeah.
See if they're taking care of
How
it.
your
for me.
investments go.
So if you Peaches, if you go down for golf, go also and check on Brit's home.
Yeah, that's the only notable things in
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yep.
It's actually on the South Carolina side. I'm a little
Wow.
embarrassed about it, but hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, right?
Taxes are lower.
So, hands off, listeners. Nobody, none of you can go look at my house. Only us. I do have the address, I think, somewhere.
I'm gonna dox your fake house.
Even though I mean that the house is real, it exists. But
Your deed is fake.
yeah, I did delete the deed.
The deed
Unfortunately,
that you printed out at FedEx once you found it.
yeah, meticulously. Yeah, damn. Well, I also forgot that stadium was downtown. I had some memory. I don't know. I guess it might as well be out in the middle of nowhere.
There
still,
is
right?
no downtown
Right.
in Charlotte, North Carolina.
It's all
Charlotte's the closest to like Leeds, where it like was never actually a city until like a bunch of smaller places just grew together. Like,
Right.
It really like I feel like I could have been like Albany, New York.
Yeah.
It was like the same kind of like sterile. I mean, the Albany's got a few like weird quirks to it, but it, like this like generic kind of just like 100,000 person town.
Yeah, no. When I was in Charlotte last year, I was just in Charlotte, like downtown on a layover, waiting to get on a bus to go to the hinterlands for a wedding, and it was the middle of the fucking day, like lunchtime, like middle of downtown on like a weekday. Not a soul on the street. It was like bizarre, and it was also it's also one of the Lime scooter cities.
Ugh,
so
yeah,
it
it is.
added to the eerie vibe that there was just nobody
Scattered
walking around,
scooters.
but just like scattered scooters
Some
all
of them
over the
knocked over,
sidewalk.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Do
was
you,
it was odd.
Did you try any of the mint while you were out there?
What?
They're the mint city, right?
Oh, any mint?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, is that
I
a thing that they
forgot.
do? Do they? Is that a pun that they're going for? Do they make mint chocolate chip stuff? out
They
there?
should. I would love
Isn't
that.
the thing though? It's that it's a coin mint. It's
Right.
weird.
Yeah.
So that would be surprisingly whimsical of them to, make a little pun.
Mint chocolate
there.
chip, if the viewer is listening, for their profile of me, is my favorite flavor of ice cream.
Wow. I mean, I'll eat it. I like it. I don't know if it's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's very refreshing.
I
It's very
hate
classic.
all mint things. I'm not a fan.
Well.
Never been. So
I will say
one more knock on you, Charlotte.
the For the Crown stuff is particularly funny after I think probably the most disturbing thing we learned all last season, among many disturbing things, which is that it's named after the Queen of Denmark, not even the Queen of England. So, God, Jesus, I'll leave it at that. The listener will know what the appropriate response is to that.
Yeah. So who are we playing next week?
Did Atalanta start a new like a Rayo OKC, but Atalanta?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
I think that's what's going
That's
on.
fun.
They don't have the same colors or anything, but who cares?
Yeah. Well, I guess we did play. Jogging our memory, it was.
I mean, I think we're very much saying that we did not.
All right. Does this game for you? Do we have a chance registered? I feel like we maybe. I have a vague memory of one chance, but I did. It was hard to stay fully awake this game. I was kind of tired after carding, but yeah.
There was definitely one chance at some point beyond the goal, obviously.
Right. Which I will say, I'm not going to count that as a full chance because we didn't create it.
No.
Yeah, the point is chance creation.
But I mean, mind you, that and the the last goals that they scored the week previous against Columbus, those are, the ideal pressing goals. Just again, the problem is that they're only happening once a week, if that.
Yeah.
The rest of the attack is non-existent.
Although,
and honestly, I mean, I don't. I feel like we're always kind of in medias res with these games now.
it's very hard.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so might as well just go in and just say like, obviously it was a 1-1 draw, but again, to reference Red Coach Jay again. No, I'm
not. Sorry, I'm not laughing. That was really badly timed.
Right.
I'm sorry. I just pulled up the highlights on mute to scrub through, and 2 comments on the YouTube video. The visible preview is American soccer is ridiculous. So did not mean to laugh at your comment, but yes, as you were saying,
pretty wacky. It is wacky, but no, I was going to lean again on Red Coach Jay, who had a good thread that kind of summed up how I think a lot of us felt about this game, where yes, it's an away draw on paper, and that's what. Kind of the base level of what you're looking for in a game. So it's not a bad result on paper, but the way it felt, even with, we'll probably get into all the referee stuff in a second too. Even with all that context, did not ever feel like a game that we deserved to get a result out of. On paper, the score was 1-1, and on the expected goals, it has us up a significant amount on Charlotte, but the eye test just continues to be brutal. This might have been some of I think the numbers that are getting, checked around after the game were 48% pass completion. This was some of the most inept combination, we've seen maybe ever, from this team. To add in more context, there were some international absences, obviously. Didn't have Corey Burke, who has become kind of the main focal point in the final third in the early weeks of the season. And also we're missing Cáceres, who is kind of, the sort of bellwether for the team's play the last couple of years. But Charlotte was missing a bunch of guys for internationals the same reason.
They're missing their best player.
They're missing their best player on top of that. And, all things told, just about the most kind of strenuous, ugly, to continue with the theme of the last few weeks, result, so to speak, you could possibly get.
Like Brant Bronico still starts for that team.
Yeah.
The one thing, if you're going to give a positive to the Charlotte FC fan base, I think they were painfully aware of how bad their team is. Mm-hmm. And they were painfully aware of how ugly this game was too. Mm-hmm. Which just even with the fans that were around us, because I was screaming at the subs that we were making. Mm-hmm. When Duncan and Barlow came on, the people were turning around and looking at me because I was just yelling. And I feel like other people on the Charlotte side also just were so frustrated with the way that they were approaching the game. And it just also highlighted I think to point on the road, whatever, but Charlotte is probably the worst team in the East.
You think? Yeah.
Probably. I don't think there's anything they didn't even if they have Swiderski, mm-hmm. They had no plan of attack. They have these 2 NPC deep midfielders,
right?
And no real defense, and they're starting Harrison awful.
They were playing kind of an avoidance game with the press as opposed to our attack, where they would let us move numbers into their side of the field with the press and then just shoot it out. They were very deliberately just, kicking it back off into awful, to just sort of, get himself a little bit of space and then whip it out. Mm-hmm. It didn't even matter if it connected with their striker or not. Their striker was actually Capetti, mm-hmm. was pretty active in chasing down a lot of those, just kind of, desperate clearances. But honestly, they weren't even very desperate. They were controlled desperation in the knowledge that eventually you will tire this team out.
Balls over the top.
And in the second half, you saw, the Red Bulls pretty depleted on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it was a switch too that led to the goal.
Right. Yeah, that too.
And I remember saying that amongst the little group that I went with, just my friend who lives down there and his little like crew of people that he goes to games with, and it was saying that like the switch when opposing teams try to switch like that, that is when the Red Bulls often get exposed. Just over the past like few years, especially. And I remember pointing it out right before it happened, even though it was an own goal and like.
It was still, I mean, that's an example of
that was like the best chance.
That was an example of a team carving out a chance. I mean, it's kind of an illustration of what we're talking about, where it's like, it didn't even matter who finished it because it was the fucking center back for the Red Bulls who finished it. When you create a chance like that, it's pretty intuitive for it to go in, and we don't create chances like that very often. And, I mean, just even more broadly speaking, I mean, I think a way that you can look at this game big picture is that, in a lot of ways, it probably was Gerhard Struber's ideal kind of performance, to be honest. I mean, they got the goal from, kind of chasing off a center back and bringing it the other way immediately and putting it in. I mean, good finish by Elias, good awareness to jump on it like that. But then beyond that, it doesn't seem like there's any kind of broad tactical plan besides just destroying games. I mean, it's, like I said earlier, like I hinted at earlier, a lot of the big narrative coming out of this game was that RBNY were robbed by the refs. And like, yes, there's some marginal calls. I mean, without getting into the nitty gritty, I personally don't feel like the particular Bronico ankle challenge or whatnot was as obvious of a red as everyone seems to be claiming. I think it should have been a yellow, but putting that aside, we were just as physical. I mean, it's our game to be physical. I mean, let's not kid ourselves about that. And it's however many weeks out of 5 now, I think I'm trying to think of any half let alone game, where we've actually kind of, I mean, mid second half against Columbus, where they've actually controlled proceedings and sort of put the other team under pressure. You didn't really see that in this game. You saw just kind of a cagey sort of dogfight. I mean, let's be real. I mean, like I was hinting at earlier, as far as, how bad some of the buildup was. I mean, to harken back to what we said last week, where it was the comment from Scams and Flams, where it was like, as they give up immediately the second they see resistance when they're, turning it around on transition. And then once they get into, so to speak, possession, it's like they've never played together before. Yeah. It's like a Sunday league team. I mean, this is, intentionally to, say, this is not individual player quality. This is a team that is playing a different formation half to half, let alone game to game. This is a team that is always working new personnel in and out for whatever reason there might be. This is a team that, even if the concept of pressing is a constant, it sounds like the actual triggers and structure of it are changing week to week. And I don't know how you can expect, especially when we hear so much that the big losses that we have are because players are, giving 95% instead of 100%, or just the margins are so thin with this pressing style. I don't know how you can hold players to that standard when we're seeing so much just tinkering, indecisiveness, whatever you want to call it. We continue to just not commit to a single setup. The only priority is setting up the press and setting up specific pressing distances for the opponent. And when you neglect every other part of the game, you get performances like most of what we've had this season. And I think on the most precise note against Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's playing scared. It seems like a great way to finish 17th of 20th.
Yeah.
Every year, which I think we are on track to do. So if you want to do 17th of 20th, beautiful setup for that. It's an achievement to make a team of professional soccer players, the majority of whom have been playing with each other for 3 years now, look like such strangers to each other. Because if you just put, the 1,000 monkeys on a typewriter in a room and let them just go at it for 3 years, they would write something a little bit more coherent than this, just by accident. Which, I mean, we were saying something similar about the Armis era too, a little bit. I think he had a different sort of way of achieving that effect, but we're here again where it's like you can almost visibly see everyone thinking constantly and not just having any sort of intuitive sense of where anyone is going to be. The last couple games, I will say, Corey Burke has shown a little bit more intuition of just flicking a ball in the final third.
Yeah.
But this is like the 2023 version of the hero ball that Morgan and Luquinhas played last year.
And it's also very simple stuff that's sort of isolated in and there was a chance a half chance, I guess, that Harper was streaking in on goal because I think Burke flicked it on in behind him. And, maybe if Corey Burke gets 2 more months with Gerhard Struber, he'll have that drilled out of him, and he won't make those mistakes again. But for now, he's still making those happy mistakes of putting the ball in towards goal, even though it's distracting him from pressing. But, so that I guess has been a marginal improvement. But it still has led to almost no chances created this game. And once again, the question of how do the Red Bulls score and, us goal? I think that's another thing that Red Coach Jay was saying in that thread, when they're coaching a youth team, it's what does an us goal look like? Something that just flows and is sort of natural to us. That doesn't exist for this team right now. There is no archetypal New York Red Bulls goal right now. There's no archetypal Gerhard Struber goal right now.
There's nothing natural about the way we play.
No. Yeah. And we had the other chance, I think, that comes up is the off of the bounce, off of a header where the ball falls to Omer and he kind of shoots it in on goal on a set piece. And it's all just circumstantial stuff like this. And, if you squint your eyes, you can say that the goal that Manuel scores is it's a pressing goal in some ways. Him being up the field lends himself, and, he's in a position where he can pounce on that ball. But I'd say the goal against Columbus last week, Corey Burke is much more of an archetypal pressing goal where he dispossesses a player deep in their own half and then pushes the ball forward and creates a chance from it. This is something where that defender should not miss that touch badly ever.
Yeah, non-pressing teams will get goals like that when the center back is loose.
Absolutely.
And that was a guy who's never played center back before. It was a 5'8" guy.
And maybe
because Charlotte was dealing with a numbers crisis.
Yeah, and maybe he was a little nervous because of our pressing system, but that's not a goal that we're going to create reliably at all from a guy just fully whiffing on trapping the ball like that,
Yeah, and just, as I mentioned, on paper, a 1-1 away result is respectable enough. But when you expand the context just a little bit, we have now won 1 out of the first 5 games. Going back to last season, it's 2 out of the last 9 games. And this is supposedly the season where it's supposed to all come together. We've mentioned a couple times recently on the show, and, there's been a little bit of chatter about it starting to brew, especially since Saturday, that, using the analogy of 2016, when the team obviously had the huge stinker for the first month of the year before being, almost perfect for the rest of the year and almost pipping Shield. The issue with that, as we've discussed when it's come up before, is that little blip at the start of the season came after a season where we literally won the Shield, rather than a season where, or I guess I should phrase it as the the limping form at the start of 2023 looks a lot like a continuation of the limping form at the end of 2022 rather than an anomaly. And the other part is that, that was a little bit more of an obvious thing where we literally didn't have numbers in defense and didn't have personnel to play center back. And then you saw kind of immediate effect when the call-in trade happened. For this, again, this is, I guess you could quibble that Van Zier still hasn't been integrated in whenever that's going to be. But beyond that, this is supposed to be the final product. This is supposed to be the most tuned up, engineered version of this team in the last 3 years, and it looks as bad as it ever has.
I don't know, we've said a version of this several times. But like how is Van Zier, if you insert like best case scenario, wildest imagination version of Van Zier into this game from the start, like how is he going to create any goals doing our game plan from that game? Like at what point is there an opportunity to create goals? There just isn't. We don't create goals. We don't create opportunities. We just pray for
a loose ball,
like what happened, and then
or the ball to fall to Morgan with a lane to shoot.
Right.
Excuse me, but have you never seen a 12-goal compilation of Lionel Messi's career between the years of 2009 and 2020, and assume that those are the expectations we should set on our players?
Oh yeah, because definitely. If we just put Messi into this squad, he'll definitely
no, but like the cherry-picked version on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. I have not seen that version.
It's really annoying EDM behind it, so.
Perfect. That's how I like all men.
I was like kind of joking when I said this in the preseason, episode, but I'm pretty sure John Tolkien has like all of our assists so far this year. He has like 2, and that's the entirety of the assists on the team right now.
I did feel like at the beginning of the game, Apple TV was like, they did their highlight for one for each team, and ours was Tolkien. They're like, this man is dangerous. And I was like,
big chance creator. And I remember saying that in the preseason episode and feeling like a fucking idiot afterward, because I was just like, that's not what I really meant. Like, there's no way. And then watching a game, you're like, there's no way. And then you watch the whole season and there's still no way. But those are the only 2 assists that this like team has created in 5 games. That's insane.
I mean, he's a tidy player, but like when they said that on the podcast, I did think like, look at my lawyer dog going to jail. Fuck. Also, Van Zier should have been tracking back on the goal, but maybe that's in week 13 of Gerhard Struber's seminar, and we can't be trusted to get to there. Yeah, he subbed in.
What?
Yeah,
he should have been tracking back.
Every time I hear it, I'm surprised.
Yeah, apparently he had an interview with Extra Time. I don't know if they asked him about his shirt tucked in. I'm kind of rely on other people to
listen to it
for that
me.
comment, for that kind of content, and report it back to me if it's interesting. But I don't know. I assume it wasn't that interesting, or it wasn't asked.
Yeah, worst case scenario, he started promoting his crypto scheme or something.
Well, anything else about this? I don't know how there could possibly be anything else about this.
Well, I mean, it was another game where supposedly we're supposed to be this front-footed, proactive team that, takes every game by the scruff of the neck, possession or not. Yet in the second half, the run of play was entirely Charlotte's direction.
Yeah.
Could not get a hold of the game, could barely move out of our own half. Few people, commented that, and this goes back to what Eric Friedlander kind of told us observing preseason, that there are moments when they're obviously pressing, but the line of engagement is so deep that you almost question what the point even is. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like you're inviting pressure only to then become chaotic. It's kind of little counterintuitive, but I guess we just have to hope and pray that this UEFA badge science fair project will lead to a perfect record for the rest of the season, just like 2016, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about, I think Cameron Harper coming off again. Obviously just came back from concussion protocol. Not that he looked
Well,
right.
apparently also Lewis Morgan is apparently just hurt now. It's supposedly, keep every player in bubble wrap except playing Lewis Morgan this half a couple weeks ago, and now he's hurt.
Yeah. Also, anybody who plays anywhere remotely near the front of the team can't play them for more than 70 minutes. Because they're going to get too tired, right? Like, we have to have... The only way to play soccer is the system where the forwards run around.
Well, is it that he doesn't want them to get tired, or does he want to dominate games with his subs? It sure looked like the subs changed the picture against Charlotte.
Yeah.
We need to end this. I'm realizing a lot about myself right now that I pick up through osmosis, because last night during GeoGuessr, I was managing minutes. I was calling subs very
Load
proactively.
management.
Yeah,
You were the manager. You were literally doing the Andre Villas-Boas bit of showing up in a suit to the U12 game as an 8-year-old.
Yeah, and we lost 1-0. Wasn't able to generate any chances. Really typical. We played in banks of 2 and everything. Really. Damn, I should rethink my coaching.
I guess that is another detail that, again, mind you, it was a lot of personnel missing, but 4-2-2-2 does not seem to be the dedicated, trusted formation the way it seemed at the beginning of the year.
Was that just like a straight up 4-2-3-1? It was. That's what it looked like most of the time.
It was
but
I think it might have, the way either Apple or FUDMob or somebody listed it, had Lucchinius listed as a forward, or Omir listed as a forward.
Oh, okay.
I've said in the past that Omir is more of a forward than a midfielder, but the way this system was set up, he was behind Manuel pretty noticeably. So
Yeah.
I think I would have scored as many goals as anyone if I played for the Red Bulls last week. Like, I just don't think it. I don't.
yeah.
Wait, look at my lawyer dog. That's all I have to say. Also, clearly the reason GeoGuessr lost is because the Barca Ehrenreich contingent is on strike and saving ourselves for the real season, which is Cork and I. Also,
I was out
for
because of in solidarity.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's why?
Yeah. Not because I got stuck circling Newark Airport for an hour.
I put a note down by your name on my notebook.
We're also preparing for GB baseball tryouts.
Yeah, that too.
Coming up, so have to.
The cycle starts now.
Yeah,
I think I'm calling for the breakup of Great Britain, the individual countries.
By FIFA rules, that would give me 4 chances to
exactly.
make a
Yeah,
team.
exactly. No, I'm trying to help you out.
Although, what would you like? I don't know. If the only team that I got invited to play for was Northern Ireland? I don't know. I don't know if I could. I don't know.
It'd be funny if Northern Ireland recruited a bunch of like community college players from like the Appalachians to come play for them.
Oh God. Yeah, actually, they might be stacked.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, our special edition WBC coverage has winded to a close. So
yeah,
I mean, we're going to be we're getting our spreadsheets in motion now. We're going to be giving you updates maybe by the summer on the next qualifying cycle. But
and we, in addition to the top news, there's also the fact that De Rosa has not been announced to be executed yet. So, brings me no pleasure to report this, as I am.
Hopefully
penalty.
Hopefully the Channel 4 documentary on De Rosa's, candidly embarrassing managerial behavior will get him out when it comes out next year. I'm
kind of hoping that, I feel like I'm on the hot seat a little bit at GeoGuessr, given my
and that you're
performance.
not even the manager.
Well, I am the manager of GeoGuessr. I'm not the manager of whatever the indoor team was,
Okay.
But the, I'm just putting my hat out there for the Korean baseball team. I have a historic resume as a soccer coach. I've expired license.
You have baseball genes.
Coach.
You
Yeah, my
gotta-
dad played baseball. This is my one out of the military conscription is winning the World Baseball Classics.
Oh yeah,
You're talking about North Korea, right? You're going to play for the North Korea
yeah,
baseball
exactly.
team.
This is going to be the real biopic.
You probably could be one of the better North Korean national baseball players, but
they should. I mean,
it'll be like me and that like one woman who's on Fox News all the time.
yeah, the shiny woman.
Yeah, we both went to Columbia.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if they just started now, they could probably get to China's level at least in the qualifiers. They made the World Cup not that long ago, so
I'm rooting for North Korea to make the 2026 World Cup. I want to go see out one of those games.
I mean, I guess they've been a better chance this time.
Yeah, because it's going to be the come one, come all World Cup.
Oh yeah, I will. I really do want to go full Middlesbrough, North Korea supporters group. they play in
In the Northeast, yeah.
in the Northeast. That would just follow them around. Well, playing Atlanta this weekend.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if the team is staying down south this week. I guess they usually do, even if they're going West Coast.
Oh, really?
They come back. And
They
then
usually
fly
come back
down.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's what I was going
I
to say.
guess it's not that far away. Yeah.
They probably want to train on the training grounds.
Yeah, what was the trip recently where like Pep Guardiola is like, you have to understand, it's 45 minutes to Watford. It's just grueling conditions. It's really unfair. Yeah, definitely. That's how I feel that's how I felt going to Edison, actually. I was like, oh God, feel a little sick. We did have White Castle on the way back though. And that was my first baby's first White Castle.
How was it?
It was great.
What'd you get?
I just got classic #1. Kept it simple.
Nice.
Was really pleased with the results.
It wasn't quite the mood where we would have eaten a crave case between the three of us,
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, what's the minimum amount of people you need for a crave case?
One.
Damn. Okay. But like actually though.
Like on a good day, could you put down 15 of those, you think?
I mean,
Or 10. Like, that's kind of, right? That's the divvy.
right. But it would have to be like, that would have to be if you were really hungry.
But you're not having fries or anything.
Right. And then like you brought him home or something. Like I wouldn't like go and sit in the dining room and eat 15. I don't
No, that's a crave case. It's a
Yeah.
briefcase for a reason.
Oh yeah. Right,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. So maybe like 2 people over a little bit amount of time.
Yeah.
Eh,
Or one high schooler.
still be painful. But that's just sad, even if you're a high schooler, right? Like,
Yeah, it's like you do it once as a challenge kind of thing, but it's doable.
yeah. Oh man, I think 3 is maybe the minimum for me at this
we can
age.
do a test at the new fancy White Castle that just opened in Midtown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It could be like, remember when we way back when we did like a Hot Ones thing for this,
Just on the mic.
and then you like lost the video or something.
Yeah, it all got corrupted.
So then it was just the audio of us smacking.
ASMR. Hot
And
Ones,
we've
Hot
kept
Ones.
that experience alive in the podcast every week since. So apparently last week Sassaroli said he couldn't even listen because of how disturbing it was. So we got to keep this up. Actually, this is the right kind of sound design we need. But Atlanta this weekend, Saturday, April 1st, away
in the dome.
in the Dome.
I mean, you would have to be a fool to watch this game. Right?
I mean, okay, I see what you did
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So Atlanta.
Who have still never beaten us in the regular season.
Oh shit, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh man, is that about to end?
They have like one guy who's doing pretty well, right?
They're doing pretty well generally. Yeah, I don't think they're first place.
Man,
still,
but what the fuck happened last week?
Did they get rocked, I think?
Yeah, what? I thought I was like maybe reading it in the wrong order. They lost 6-1 to Columbus. I guess in Columbus. But also we just saw that Columbus team. Nothing special. No red cards that I can see.
Sometimes there are games like that.
They played that teenage center back who we murked.
It was 1-0 and then Gutman came off And,
that's what
Wow,
happened.
wow,
Yeah,
okay.
We all see
and
what
then
happened.
Columbus scored 5 more, and then Atlanta scored 1. What, man? God damn. Wow, Columbus has a guy named Matan, which I love. So, too bad he didn't make an appearance, or maybe he did, and I just didn't notice. But other than that, Atlanta's won 3 games, drawn 1, and lost 1. That was their first loss last week. Which, wow. Let's look at the table right now.
It's been 5 weeks.
Yeah, now we got so New England seems to be back. Who knew? New England has 4 wins and 1 loss, 12 points. Then you got Cincinnati, which I guess people did sort of see coming. People are talking about that.
Yeah, it's carrying on from last year.
11 points. Then it's Atlanta with 10. Then Orlando, Columbus, then Nashville in 6th. So have we played most of those teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, we drew Nashville. So I guess if you want to be like annoying, you can be like, oh, the Red Bulls have played good teams.
But if you want to be smart, they got the points from us.
That's
Yes.
a great point. Still, and if you want to be like really smart, you could say I watched the game and it was boring and I wanted to kill myself. And that's all you need to say.
In many ways, that's the most smart option.
Yeah.
As opposed to just reading numbers on a fucking table
Yeah.
or on a Wikipedia article.
Right. Then it's NYCFC who lost last week. It's have 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, 7 points. You know, they lost to Houston last week. I watched about 30 minutes of it after our game ended. And Houston looks surprisingly decent, but also it was a little disturbing to watch it and just be like, God, this Ben Olsen team, they're like moving together at the same time. And like sometimes they'll pass the ball somewhere and just kind of know a guy is going to be there. And they seem to like have a general understanding of what the plan is. And it was real fucked up.
Who's on that team?
Well, Hector Herrera, I guess. But other than that, a bunch of just fucking guys you would not believe. They're in 8th place in the West. Let's see. Who beat NYCFC last week? It's a good opportunity to
Stay on
visit that.
topic.
Wow, is our tour's on Houston now. That's fun. Corey Baird, still only 27 years old. Bunch of and of course Bartlow, Evil Barlow. He's only 23, and Steve Clark is still around, and Dan Steres. Those are the last little guys I remember. Other than that, a bunch of randos.
The sort of high-priced MLS squad that leaves Red Bulls in the dust.
Right.
Red Bulls just can't compete with these star-studded teams in the rest of the league.
No.
Because they're so cheap and the team is so bad. The players are just useless and it's never the coach's fault.
They can't understand his very basic instructions.
Yeah, especially a team with a roster and management of like a place like St. Louis,
Yeah,
Can never
definitely.
get people or players like that.
Okay, what do you guys think is going on with St. Louis with all the back passes to the is this what? How could it keep happening every week? I saw one guy who was like, "Oh, the refs! I've bribed enough refs in my life."
Yeah.
It's like, what? How would the refs even
How
help?
would they orchestrate that? Yeah. It's bizarre, but I mean, it's kind of, not to continue to beat the hobby horse or whatnot, but it's kind of a, unflattering portrayal of the rhetoric we've heard at this club recently, where supposedly having, 3, 4, 5 players, moved around every offseason means you just can't possibly, do anything with that team. You can't expect that team to win anything. You have to reteach them the entire game. Meanwhile, St. Louis has put together literally an expansion team of a bunch of guys who have never played together before, and they seem to have picked up the game of soccer pretty quickly. Fairly, there was a lot of jokes earlier this week that, supposedly they were the first pressing team in MLS. But, they are a pressing team. And it turns out you don't need to have a group of players together for 2-3 years, whatever, before you start expecting to win games.
Well, hold on.
It can be done.
Not so fast.
Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I heard the rumors that some of St. Louis's players had actually had played soccer before they signed them, and they were able to use that experience to inform how they play now, which sounds illegal. I don't know. I mean, like, it's not the way...
You mean to say that they saw these players and how they succeeded in their past roles, and they decided to set them up to succeed in that kind of way in this team, as opposed to fitting some ideological scheme?
Because that doesn't seem right. That seems wrong.
That seems like cheating. They're probably... I won't go there. But
it's just, it's like a chess piece doesn't remember all the places it's been played in its life. It just sits there motionless until you touch it. And that's what the Red Bulls players need to do more often, and move exactly when one person wants them to.
I'm glad you told that reference, because I'm like a 530 ELO or something on chess.com.
Oh yeah, key is to not actually play online, and your ELO never budges. Cool 1000. Philadelphia, meanwhile, is in 8th place, going back to the table. Inter Miami is in 9th place. Do we play them? No, not yet.
No.
Toronto is in 10th place with 1 win, 3 draws, and 1 loss. You know who also has 1 win, 3 draws, and 1 loss? The New York Red Bulls. But we have a goal difference of 0, which feels about right. So we're in 11th of 15 places in the East right now, which is outside of the playoff spots.
like, just to piggyback on, it feels about right. I mean, and I guess this is meant to be somewhat backhanded, like it was when it was brought up earlier. But it's like, as if your only rubric for measuring soccer management is pressing and preventing the other team from playing, then I suppose Struber's done what he's said he's staked out to do, and has fulfilled that end of the bargain. The problem is everything else. You can't kind of rest your laurels on that kind of stuff when the team is, mid-table at best, and every other phase of play is, pretty much a disaster.
Yeah. At one point watching the game, I was like, oh, maybe I should like multitask or something and like do my taxes. And then I was like, wait, I already did my taxes months ago. I'm so bored. I'm thinking about doing my taxes again instead of just facing the stark reality of watching this without distracting myself.
I should have just sent you my documents.
No, it's illegal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a thing. I mean, I've always kind of resisted, and this, I guess this is going back more to, kind of European highest level soccer, where I kind of resist the idea that, teams have to play attractive, and that, it has to be free flowing possession football and all that kind of stuff. But this is the first time with a team that I follow closely, obviously first time with the Red Bulls, where it's just so palpable that it's just unenjoyable to watch. It's just brutal. It's just not, even regardless of your aesthetic, kind of stance on soccer and how it should be played. It's just not, it doesn't look like it's being performed successfully. You're seeing misplaced passes. You're seeing players, like you keep saying, Brit, have to think and hesitate while they're on the ball. It doesn't look savvy in any way.
It doesn't even look like a press is the thing that I've been harping on the last like dozen episodes, is that the team doesn't even, like, when this team was pressing over the last 6-ish years, 7-8 years, this podcast has glowed about how like thrilling we've thought that was, both in person and on TV, and how like it really like builds a tension in the stadium that you could strike at any moment and that you could just completely demolish a team. That is not how it is right now. It doesn't even feel like we're doing a coherent press. It is weird how like the numbers are consistently so high, but like our press is so turgid, like aesthetically, visually, like, and teams just are like, okay, I guess I'll be a little quicker and just scurry it around the edge, which is also why I was fine. Like the subject of like the refereeing last week also is slightly funny to me, because it's like, okay, what if we do get a red card that game? Like, what are we going to do with that?
Struber himself has literally said that the team plays worse when they're against 10 men.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the other team has their game plan completely clear, and we have no way of adjusting to that.
This is not like
despite 3 years of management.
Wenger era Arsenal, like getting stomped on, and like because they're trying to pass real small around Birmingham or something. You know, it's like we would just been like, wait, what? What do you mean you can't pass it amongst yourselves? Like, we're kind of relying on that. We kind of were hoping that you'd pass it to each other and then you'd just miss and you'd let us score. We don't have our own ideas. Please just don't score and let us score. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't like we're saying, like, I don't mind ugly soccer, but it's like very, very negative, just kind of cynical.
It's easy
it's a
to
cynical outlook of how you look at this sport.
It's easy to be, you know, setting the records for least shots given up and, you know, being high in the pressing metrics and all that kind of stuff when you're just destroying the rest of the game. I mean, you know, it's you know, we've been kind of mentioning where it's like, you know, this, you know, the incorrect stereotype of the Red Bulls, you know, during the Jesse Marsh years is now real. And weirdly enough, national media seems to, you know, be, you know, optimistic about this version of the Red Bulls, even though it's the most nightmarish version of what they say they've always hated about them. So go figure. It's salad, must be salad. That's the season we're in. We thought it might not be salad. We were promised not salad, but it is more late 2022 Red Bulls greens.
And it doesn't even have like the nice like tortilla strips or anything.
Not at
that
all.
Are like
No
Not
crunch.
even
Not
croutons.
crouton. Jesus.
yeah.
No, just
no
petite greens.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll have some
Plastic fork.
grand green. Yeah.
dry
Very
grilled
grand.
chicken.
So yeah, Atlanta. We'll see. You know, actually, the thing is, it's like I'm not even. It's not even like I'm gonna be like, oh, we're definitely losing against Atlanta. I don't even necessarily think we'll lose against Atlanta. I think we'll be dreadful to watch against Atlanta, and I'm not looking forward to watching 90 minutes of it. Is the main thing. We might get a draw. I would be pleasantly surprised if we won away from home. But, you know, it could definitely happen. I don't think it's a for sure thing that we're going to lose this game. I think it's actually more likely than not that we don't lose this game, I would say. Marginally.
We've never lost to Atlanta.
Never lost
in the
to
league.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I just know it's going to be boring, and it's going to be... Gareth Struber is going to do psychological warfare on me. He's going to strap me down and inject me with, you know, nauseous-inducing drugs and making me look at the game for 2 hours without blinking type of treatment. It's just gonna be so dreadful. It's just like he learned about soccer in Plato's cave and is trying to reproduce it or something. It's just so.
It's an AI production of soccer.
I'm going. You know, at this point,
ChatGPT.
I'm just going all in on the just like dreadful experience aspect of it. It just sucks. I hate it. Qualitatively, I hate it.
As an entertainment product, it's not very entertaining.
No.
Yeah.
It's a bad time. It's just a nightmare blunt rotation of soccer.
If I were Tim Apple, I would excise the New York Red Bulls from MLS as a condition.
I would press the big red button underneath is that all of the American CEOs have on their desk for the big companies. You know the button. I would press it. But I Atlanta does also remind me of one of my favorite things the last 2 weeks is that like Atlanta's new boy scored a fancy goal on a set piece. And it was like upper 90 from really far out. And Nick Raimondo was just like, yeah, like this shouldn't have happened. Like that's just a bad move on the goalkeeper's part. It was like, nuh-uh. And he was like, yeah, dude, just like, why do they have 6 people in the wall? Rookie mistake. And they're like, oh, upper 90 with 6 people in the wall. Who saves that? He's like, my mom.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, fucking rules. Like, just not Ben. He's like, come on, do better. I'm like, all right, I like that. But that was good. But, you know, who knows?
And also, even though, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Was another low light is that we are now, Gerhard has caved to the biggest perversion in the game, and we put someone on the floor during a set piece too.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
The one area where he, actually was living up to the hype.
The only redeeming quality.
Yeah, we now got guys lying on the ground.
You know, I had a realization earlier that I think we're destined with the players that we have to return to a 3-5-2. Like, I think we're going to see this team in August.
Some halves. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like, I think like we kind of just have. Why wouldn't we have the roster for it this season if that was the roster for it last season? You know.
So Hassan being full-time center back.
No,
or
Nealis. Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Nealis.
The fact that Hassan Dom is like the like little aspect of this that makes me think like I'm being pranked or like it's a joke or like I'm dreaming, you know, where it's like, why is he there? It's like that looks a little too shiny, or like that hasn't really stopped spinning this whole time, or like the letters there don't work out.
Does he have 6 fingers?
Yeah.
Does he have like 30 teeth? Like what?
What Scott? Does he have? Wait, I've never actually really seen his face, have I? He's never faced me. Like, has anyone looked him in the eyes?
Is that Reyes with a beard?
Yeah, like what? So, you know, maybe it's all just a joke, because the fact that we brought but if we had brought back fucking what's his name? Oh my god,
Goodman.
No.
Caden Clark.
No, older than this. Here's a name some
Mohamed Keita.
Old Red Bulls fans may remember. Anatola Bong. If we brought back Anatola Bong,
that's a little too on the nose.
I would be like, oh, this rules. This is just real. This is real, uncut fan service. But Ndam, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe he'll score a goal this season. As big a chance as anyone, I think. Do you think Van Zier starts this week?
No.
Do you think he ever starts?
The story last week was that he supposedly had an illness during the week and was not 100% for that reason.
Wasn't Burke throwing up in the game
during
two weeks ago?
Forgot about
Something's
that.
going around.
Well, I mean, unless it's like, the Noro that I had a couple months ago where I just was sore for like 3 weeks afterwards. He's a professional athlete. He should recover better than me. Like fucking, if it's going to be, it's already been strange the last couple of weeks. If we have, this is going to be what, 5 weeks in a row that he's been in the team and dressed, but not starting when he's coming directly out of the European season, when he was supposedly signed specifically because he wouldn't have a learning curve because he's so kind of such a good fit for the tactics. I don't know. It's all strange. And just to piggyback on Ndam again, just of all the things that we've heard that were just unconscionable obstacles for Struber to work with roster wise. Apparently a guy who was cut by a USL team a year ago being the third center back is not an issue. Go figure. It's salad.
So much salad.
It's a lot. It was a lot of salad coming into the fray, coming out of the Charlotte game.
Yeah. Hold on. I fell asleep and I dreamt of salad. It's the only dream I ever have now. Just falling into a pool.
I wonder,
salad.
Like, I think I'm like readjusting my expectations this season, but I think I'd be thrilled for like a wedge salad every week or so often.
What would be a wedge salad in this context? Is that just a win? Is that just a little bit crunch?
Yeah, well, just it's like a different form, right? Because it's like
All
it
right.
comes in like the spears instead of like each leaf.
Okay.
We get like a little cutting up action ourselves. So
We're gonna have to start like
a fruit salad maybe.
dragging in some like movie reviews or something this season. I feel like this is only the best chance I have to actually doing this if I just mention it on the show itself, like tie in like, we'll talk a little bit about the game, bring in a little review. Maybe it's even we can bring back the unhinged like mince bits type thing to really add some more variety into it, because otherwise it's just gonna be a lot of salad.
There have been 2 soccer animes in the meantime since our last episode.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so there's content.
I will just devote 600 hours to watch those, and then we can be ready.
It's just one season. You'll get through it.
Oh, sorry, 400 hours.
It's not One Piece.
Okay. Well, till then.
Join